Believe it or not, September 11th for me was a pretty interesting subject. I lived in Staten Island, New York. I was 9 at the time. I was in fourth grade, um, and I was in the middle of my English class, and I was learning words. Just doing what a fourth grade year old kid does. Being 19 now, 10 years since. It's been a long time, but I still remember crystal clear. So my father, who happens to be the EMS captain of New York, well, one of them, um, he was the first ambulance called on duty for 9/11, for EMS, the Emergency Medical Service. So I remember that it was only about an hour from me getting into school where my father came in full uniform with a fleet of officers, came and picked me and my twin brother up in the middle of class, just yanked me out, and I rode in the command car all the way home, and I was placed in front of the TV, and I got to watch as literally from my window and from the TV I could see the towers very clearly. Um, it wasn't until an hour later when the towers finally fell, um, that kind of hit me hard for the sole purpose of um, I didn't understand the idea and the concept of, something tragic happened on U.S. soil. I didn't realize how many lives were lost. I realized that my mother was beyond upset, that my father was in a state of panic, and that I wasn't going to be allowed to go outside for a really long time. So uh, I stayed inside, and then about 2 hours later, I walked outside, and a huge amount of just papers, fax papers, um, debris, ash, just started trickling down in my front lawn, and just seeing my front lawn covered in pieces of that, absolutely incredible. And now that I'm looking back on it 10 years from now, it's a blessing that I was able to recall so much, because now that I have a better understanding of the situation, it grossly changes my opinion of what it was back then. And it's strange to think that so many people weren't as affected. I mean, now I was only less than 2 miles outside of the area, but like, bird's eye view. But I just didn't think that, I didn't think that other people wouldn't be affected the same way I was. I thought everyone would feel the same way. And what's tough was losing friends in the attack, and my dad lost a couple of really good friends that day, and some of them were very close to me, and some of them I didn't get to know yet, and it's a shame that I never did. I have a piece of the actual tower sitting downstairs. It's kind of on a mantle, and I live in Pennsylvania now. I've moved after 9/11. We hightailed it out of there because we feared for another attack, and it wasn't until I hit 7th and 8th grade where it kind of hit me, the gravity of the situation, and how critical it was in the turning of America's motivation, in a sense. Which it's horrible that an emergency and a catastrophe like this has to occur for morale to improve within the United States, but it is what it is. And so, living in PA, looking back on it now, it's been a huge realization, and it's something that I'll never forget.